This is On the Porch, RVA, where every episode features observers discussing life. We agree and we disagree. So we invite you to take part as we discuss current events and no telling what else. Whether the conversation is bad drivers, politics, or even earthworms, everyone has an opinion and is welcome to express it. Life is an adventure to be shared and celebrated here on the porch.
Hello and welcome to the porch. It's Tracy Hundley here on the Porch RVA. I'm glad you found us. I want to introduce you to somebody, and that somebody would be Matt Pak, and we're on audio too.
I know.
Okay, so don't turn into Marcel Marceau on me.
I'm letting you talk.
Okay.
I'm letting you talk. I'm not going to be like, yes, no, yes, no.
And I want to welcome you to On the Porch RVA, and I'll tell you guys right up front that Matt also joined us in the Nerds Corner when we were talking about Star Wars, but this is about Matt's books, and that is plural. How do you feel hearing books plural?
Well, that was the whole goal, actually. That was the thing. It was like, because I've wanted to tell people, they say, yeah, I'm working on these books. But until they're actually done, I didn't want to jinx it. A lot of people have these great ideas. I have this great idea for a rock song. I have a great idea for a rock band. I have a great idea for a musical. But you got to actually do it before you can, ideas. You
don't want people coming to you 5 years later. So what happened to
Whatever
that idea?
happened to that idea? You actually have to do it,
That's true.
And so,
That's
right.
true.
So as we're speaking right now, book 2 is nearly done. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like I just have to write the last 500 pages. That's all. But no, I'm just welding together, because I don't write forwards. It's sort of like beginning and ending, and then I crash into it the middle, and then sort it out there.
Then you smooth out the rough edges.
Right. It's like folding a bed while you're making a bed while you're laying in it. You have to reach over and then scooch over and then scooch over.
Well, I didn't intend to ask you this question, but since you bring it up,
all right.
In my writing, I have somebody that I let read my writing every once in a while. Yes. And I think that I'm finished with a scene, and then he says, "Oh, what if so and so does such and such?" And I'm like, "All right, back to the drawing board." Are you letting anybody write along?
I am, and I wouldn't be against that. My friend John, who the main character is based on, or the original concept was based on, he reads it. So it's like as soon as the book is actually done, he's already read part of it, but the part he's read is already gone. It's already been redone, or mostly redone. But I let him read it, and he mostly just points out like spelling errors and typographical.
Oh, well, we
errors,
need those friends,
which is fine.
Yeah.
But I've told him, I said, like, if you read something and it's like, I don't think at this part, that you should have the guy, kill everybody in the room, or I don't think at this part you should have the girl turn out that she's a ghost cyborg from the year 2700. It's like that just doesn't seem to fit in the storyline. So I welcome that kind of criticism, but
so he is a trusted character.
Oh, yeah.
He had to have been to some degree for you to have liked him enough to have.
We've known each other since high school.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, it's the whole thing started off as a cartoon that I drew. It was like a parody of the old comic book Mr. Miracle, which I was a fan of because I was always into magic, especially when I was 10 years old or whatever, and loved the Magician Show with Bill Bixby.
Oh, yeah.
And so my friend John, he was an actual magician. Still is. He still is a magician. Still performs and whatever. But I did a cartoon, a comic book where he was literally Mr. Miracle, and it was, the same costume and everything. And then I said, like, this would be cool. I'll make it into an actual standalone comic book or idea. It was like, at the time I wasn't publishing. I was just drawing stuff and sharing with people, making Xerox copies. It was just like fan fiction, sort of elaborate stuff.
Right.
So I created in the version of that I created called Mr. Suicide. Because like Mr. Miracle was a super escape artist who's putting himself in deadly situations where he escaped. So it was the same thing. He was Mr. Suicide, and so it was like blatant.
And you just never knew when he might be committing suicide.
Right. Well, that wasn't the point. But yeah, he was a full costume, different costume. He had like the.
I mean, that is bad magic, right?
Right.
If you do it poorly, you might end up killing yourself.
Right. Exactly. It's like I actually have in the second book where someone says to somebody, you can kill him any time because, the police are going to say, well, he was going to die, doing this escape anyways. So you could pretty much have carte blanche to kill him, kill the hero. So what's wrong with you? Why aren't you killing the hero? You can get away with it.
Let me back up to where I'm supposed to be at this point.
Go right ahead.
Okay, and so that is at the introduction. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch out a little bit of an introduction for the people of what I know of you, and then you fill in the gaps as we go. I've got just a few questions for you to keep us moving along.
All right.
But Matt Pak, I first met you when producer John was working at Fox 35, and I saw you out and about, met you at the station. I have happy memories of your interaction with us at one of the best company Christmas parties we ever went to.
Ooh, cool.
And I mean, companies used to throw really good Christmas parties.
This is true.
Really good Christmas parties. So what little I remember of that Christmas party, it was a lot of fun, and you were there. And this was before I met Skeeter.
Okay.
And yes, this is Skeeter. And let's see. I know you have a very cute dog, and you're close with your mom. And you're writing Jack Magic, the book series. And it's 2 books now, but I suspect there might be more. It might turn into, who knows what things can turn into. I mean, with animation and we were talking about readily available technology.
Right.
And the whole industry being completely open now.
Yes.
And what do you think of that?
Right. Well, just to fill in one of your blanks there, just in case people don't know, there was a TV show produced locally in Richmond called Dr. Gruesom's Movie Morgue. It was Dr. Gruesome and his demented
Skeeter.
Assistant Skeeter.
Was Skeeter demented?
Yeah, he was messed up.
Was he really demented?
Oh, he was messed up.
My favorite was the Christmas episode when Skeeter went to heck.
He went to heck, and he went, oh, hell, I'm in heck. and this guy named John Hundley, I think you were married to him or something, he played the devil.
Producer John did play the devil in that.
So, but yeah, so I just was filling in that. So yeah, I did that from 1988 through the early 90s, and we came back in 2006. And once in a while, hopefully we will do it again. It just depends on the situation. The local broadcasting has changed so much that there's not any space. They've told us, there's no space. There's I don't think there's any movie packages running on our channel anymore. And and we could do it like a YouTube show or whatever, or some other hosted thing. But that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. And I'm not against it, but it's like that's sort of something that would have to be special.
And it's a big commitment, too.
It's a big commitment.
To really step in.
And we would do it serious. We'd take it seriously if we did. So, I mean, I'm not ever closing the door on it. Be happy to do it, happy to make an appearance. I think I did make an appearance somewhere as Skeeter. I did. There was a Midnight Frights. Both Doc and Skeeter showed up on Midnight Frights. It ran on the PBS channel locally few
bet
years
that
back.
was
It was fun. We were, so yeah, so that's doors always open. But anyways, going back, yeah, Jack Magic is a trilogy. It's always been a trilogy. It's meant to be 3 and not well done. It's a complete story. It's meant to be 3, and very much like Star Wars. And the whole thing, the other thing too, is not just because I told about the Mr. Suicide, whatever, but we'll get into that part later about when I went to England for the trip to see Empire Strikes Back. I'm sitting there in the set going like, okay, I want to do this. And it wasn't Star Wars because even back then I couldn't imagine what I could create for Star Wars. I mean, I would like to handle that now. Someone say, Matt, write me a Star Wars story. I come up with an idea for a Star Wars story. But I want to do something like Star Wars, something that was big and epic and entertaining, and fun for everybody. So Jack Magic, which has evolved over the decades, because originally I was going to do it as a comic book. I mean, it was going to be in 2012. I published the first sample issue. I actually self-published. It was an actual comic book, but it was going to be I think originally going to be 18 issues.
That's what I was going to do with my first story too.
Right. And it was going to be 6 were for each of the trilogy. So the 6 issues would have been 6, and then the next 6, and then the final 6, and that would have been the complete story. But like Star Wars, it's really all about book 3. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. It's like I could just skip 1 and 2 completely and just do book 3. And hopefully these are written in such a way that you don't have to read 1 to read 2. You don't have to read 1 and 2 to read 3.
Right.
But book 3 is the biggie. That's the main one. And I originally thought it's like, well, I could skip it all, but you wouldn't have the context of what it's about. And the beauty of it is, if it's successful, if hopefully it is successcul, then I will already have 2 prequels in the bank ready. I mean, they're there.
They're banked.
Like, if you like 3, say well, I'd like to read more. Well, you can go back and read 2. That leads up into number 3.
Well, see, that's not entirely crazy.
No.
When you look at the C.S. Lewis stories, the Narnia stories,
right?
The one that everybody always speaks of right up front, the one that they made the movie of first, was the 3rd one.
Right.
Or maybe it was the 2nd one, but it definitely wasn't the first one.
True. And it's like when George Lucas supposedly, when he wrote down his outline for Star Wars, he decided to skip the beginning and jump to what he calls Part 4. So the movie we saw in 1977, which he went back and renamed Part 4, which sort of irks me a little bit, but that's okay. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind that as long as you can have the original, the one we saw in the theaters. But so he jumped ahead to the main action. So the main action is in 3, but it works better with the context. And you're also not going to be cheated to find out it depends on your point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view.
Certain point of view. It's like no. It's meant to be read in order, but you can just literally skip ahead to 3, and that would be it. So that's the main thing. And then after that, I actually do have ideas for more, but I'm not going to kill myself over it. I mean, there could be more spin-offs, because there's so many characters. There could be spin-offs. There could be more adventures of the main character.
But it's not a goal. It's just recognizing.
But right. But the main thing is this is a story I've always wanted to tell. And so when I finish, the best part is book 2. When you get to the end of book 2, you'll know exactly what book 3 is going to be about. There's no doubt what is going to happen next. I mean, of course, there's lots. You'll still want to know.
You'll still want to know.
I already know what's going to happen.
It's like watching The Chosen. What happens to Jesus?
Right. Exactly. But you'll have to tell me after the show's over.
Okay.
To catch me up a little bit. But no, the thing is that's why I'm really happy about finishing these, because this is a story I've wanted to tell, and I'm actually going to go back. I've got some friends where I'm going to say all that stuff I was hinting at and giving you clues about. This is what I was talking about. I was with a friend at his daughter's wedding, and I said, we're going to talk about these. No, we're not going to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk about this thing that you did. because no. It's not about him personally. It's like I put this without a spoiler, but they were at a party and they were dressed up as something, and I said, "Oh, that's exactly like," and it's like, oh, I was dying to tell him, but it's like until it's actually done, I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah. So you're just walking around with all these little Easter eggs.
Right. But what I did, though, was smart, is I did, and I knew this, and just in case I get hit by a bus or something, I wrote down the secret and gave it to my friend John in an envelope, said, don't open it, and he's not going to open it.
Okay.
But, you know, and if he did, it's all right. But, you know what I'm saying? It's actually there. And then when I finish book 2, I'm going to do the same thing. Here's book 3. Here's what's going to happen exactly in book 3. Because I know that one even more. That's what's taking time with 2, because I'm trying to make it fit.
That's the one that was your goal all
along. The goal of 3, and so I'm going to send him what's going to happen. So in case I get hit by a bus or something, they'll know.
I am not anticipating a bus. And let me tell you, you can go to, if you're a Facebook user, Jack Magic has a Facebook page, and you can look at some of the pictures. But let me get to my standard questions. Okay. I always ask as my first standard question, what book would you want to read if you could read a book for the first time? Again, not having any recollection of your reactions the first time you read it. A book you would read for the first time.
One of my favorite books, well, there's a couple of them, but one of my favorite books of all time, and I sort of patterned some of the stuff I do on him, was called The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers. He is a great writer. He writes a lot of fantasy, in very elaborate, intricate. One of his novels was about pirates, and they actually adapted it as part of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
I mean, they took an existing franchise, said, okay, we're going to take your book, we're going to make it part of their, just like they took like an original science fiction story and put it in Star Trek. They took his novel and stuck that into the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like John Carter has been pieced out on Darker Tides.
That's the movie. On Darker Tides is based on his novel, which does not include Jack Sparrow, but.
And his name again?
Tim Powers.
Tim Powers.
Powers, like, P-O-W-E-R.
I'm going to check that out. I'm going to put a link.
Gates is a wild story. It's time travel. It's intricate. It's got crazy characters. It is just, was recommended by a friend of mine, and I said, okay, I'll read it. And it was like, just amazed by it.
So if you were able to read that again without any recollection, all of it fresh in your face, that would be
probably
that sounds good.
One of those, yes.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to ask you my usual second question, which is having a book in progress, because you obviously have a book in progress.
What was the question? I don't remember.
Normally, it's what book do you have that you're keeping on standby? Like you've got the hardback in the car for when you get stuck waiting for the tow truck, or you've got jury duty and you've got this book that you don't read unless you just really have to be reading something because you're stuck somewhere.
Is this like a toilet book? You mean like you read John? You mean like something like that?
It could be.
Because a lot of I don't really would know. I mean, it's like fiction is like an experience. You sort of, for me, it's like you go. It's like a long commitment. My favorite type of books like that are books like fantastic television, things about like classic genre television. Or there's like a wish book about the like reprints. Old toy catalogs and things like that. So it's something like that you could just read just for fun. Like you could just flip through it and start anywhere, or decide to do a deep dive.
Yeah, there's nothing you'd have to retain and then hold on to till the next time you picked it up again.
But it'd be something you could just you could like or an art book. I mean, I've got actually several paperback books I got on pinball machines. I just love to look at the pictures and just it's just like things like so art. Television, movies, just
that's so logical.
That's kind of a thing that would be fun to go to.
That is so logical. Yeah. Let me ask, if you would share with us your worst day or season in your life, and I'm not looking for gory details.
Oh. Okay.
But the reason I'm asking you to dig to that depth is so that you can also tell us how you came out of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, we will start a support group. That's what we'll do.
No, you just keep moving. I mean, you just keep going on. I even addressed that in the first book I wrote, where there was a minor thing that most people don't pick up on or don't care about. There was a Swamp Thing story where Alan Moore took over the Swamp Thing in the early '80s, and the Swamp Thing, the story was that there's a scientist working on this magical chemical, and it blows up, or it gets blown up on him, and he falls into the swamp, turns into Swamp Thing.
Uh-huh.
Alan Moore came back and he did a reimagining or a retrofit of it. So in his version, everything happened the same way as in the book, everything exactly the same, except that the explosion went off and it killed him.
Oh.
And so he's dead, he's on fire, and his body, just by reflex, is walking and just being blown out of the laboratory.
Well,
and he's
I
walking
don't like
on
that.
fire. And he falls into the swamp. So the idea, though, is I had a character in the story relate to that, going like, that's like, because he went through something really bad as well.
Uh-huh.
It's like saying, like, that's just like you're on fire and you're walking, and that's just basically it. You're just moving. You're not thinking.
You just don't stop.
You don't stop. It's just reflex. You just keep going.
Uh-huh.
And that's not advice. that's not like, always look on the bright side of life. Da-da. But that's sort of like, it just resonated with me, because it's like that happens, and it's like you have to get up, you have to go to work, you have to pay the bills, you got to feed the dog, feed the cat, you gotta pay, do whatever you got to do, you got to keep going.
So you would say if you don't have a dog or a cat and you find yourself in the worst season of your life, you should probably get one.
Maybe. I lost my dog. He got old and sick, so I take care of my mother's dog. I decided not to have another dog.
Mm.
Now I'm not against dog. I love him, but I decided it's like, well, my mom's dog needs taken care of, so it's the same as it's family dog.
Yeah, it's a family
But I mean,
dog.
it's just right now. It's just that it was.
And
better.
It is a cute dog.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, she's cute. She's a monster.
But she's cute.
She's sweet. No, she's really sweet. But she's not as bad as my dog, who was insane, Patrick. But Lucy's sweet, but she's just like she's supposed to calm down. When you get older, she hasn't calmed down.
Oh yeah.
So she's still
you can't count on that.
She's like, what can I eat? What can I tear up now?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we let her loose, it's like, Mom, you got to pick up every napkin off the table. You got everything. Everything's got to go.
So she keeps your mom moving.
Oh yeah, got it. You got it. No, don't leave it down. She'll go right to it. Mine. No. Now the good news with her, different than Patrick, I can just pull it right out of her mouth. I can like a lion tamer.
Uh-huh.
She's got something in her mouth. I can just go, okay, give me. Yeah. Whereas Patrick would go, bite me back.
So Patrick and Skeeter had something in common in being a little demented.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. I get Skeeter didn't bite, but he was. Well, I mean, the thing was, the whole thing was a joke. It was a cartoon, a comedy, kind of a thing like a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah.
Skeeter got hurt a lot, so in my mind, I had to justify why he got hit a lot, because I had to make him. Okay. In my mind, this is just my thinking. He had to also deserve it a little bit. You know what I mean? Even though Dr. Gruesome is like a rotten SOB, Skeeter has to bring that stuff on himself, because Dr. Gruesome would give him power or give him like control, and he'd just blow it. He'd blow it the whole time.
Skeeter's so gullible.
Oh, well, of course.
Skeeter is just so gullible. I mean, but there was one thing that y'all did that I still want to do here. Yeah. I told John, when we have a live audience here, I want to make sure that we cut to shots of the live audience, and we haven't done anything that had a live audience yet.
Oh, you could do that. We could just get a group of people together. We'll just get some chairs or whatever, and just film a bunch of different reactions. Then you can just intersplice them in.
See, this is what happens when you have a TV person.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
we may have to do that.
We did that. Yeah.
I got to tell you guys.
People asleep. People like today's world, everybody be looking at their phones.
Yeah, we have to get some of that.
The
show's on. We had so much fun doing our Star Wars episode that we're going to be doing a part 2. And I'm hoping that you'll come back and sit in on the part 2. I know timing is going to make a
It
difference.
depends
So it hadn't
when
been
or
set
where.
yet. But, yeah.
You know I'm a big ham, so
It was,
it's like,
oh,
oh no, I don't have to do it again.
this guy's
I don't have to
got
do it
some
again.
Star Wars
have to do it
stories,
again.
though.
I don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Having gone to the Star Wars set in
Yes.
England,
Mm-hmm.
so we know now that had a profound impact on you.
Yes.
The only other question that I
Mm-hmm.
had was to ask you how old you were when you knew what you wanted to be when you grew up. Was that then?
Well, no, I know because I always wanted to be a cartoonist, or that was my idea. I remember in first grade we had these little ice cream spoons, and
Uh-huh.
we were the class assignment was to use construction paper and markers or crayons or whatever, and make what you wanted to be when you grew up. And so mine was a spoon figure holding a giant pencil. So no, I was an early fan of Charlie Brown of Peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have thing called newspapers that had comic strips, and so I loved the comic strips, and I loved Pogo, and I loved Peanuts and
Pogo. Oh my
Andy
goodness.
Cap and things like that. So I always wanted to be a cartoonist, or the idea. And then later, as I got older, I wanted to be a comic book artist.
So was it the drawing of it or the storytelling too? Did that come later?
Both. I mean, and of course, then it's like the ideas change. The cartoons, like the animated cartoons, that thing. I almost was an actual animator. Almost didn't happen. But it's like the line from the producers. I was up for the lead in the Gypsy Lovers. What happened? I didn't get it.
Almost. Almost.
But what did happen though was my father, God bless him, he wanted me to become a doctor. And I sort of had to go along with that, but I just was too squeamish, not into blood or the whole cadaver thing and whatever. But I did start, just to make him happy, I did do pre-med. I went to Virginia Tech and became a biology pre-med. But I really wanted to go, and so I won this contest. That's what happened. Is I sent in a cartoon to the Bantha Tracks, and it was just a throwaway. It was I forgot all about it. Then I got a phone call. It's like, you won, and won what? Did I win a book or so? No, you won the prize, the trip to England. It was
the prize.
What? So that changed my life too. In that now my father actually saw, because even though it was just a crude cartoon. He saw, okay, so
there's some potential.
Maybe he can really be an artist.
Yeah.
So that's why right after that I was able to switch majors and become an art. I was a commercial art and filmmaker. I had a mixed major at Virginia VCU. So that did change my life too, in that I was able to go and do change my major and actually pursue what I really wanted.
You fine-tuned.
Right.
Yeah.
But then on the set, while I was there, got to meet all the different people. Actually got to meet Billy D. Williams just passing by. He was like leaving as I was going in. He's coming out of the set with a camera. He said, "Oh, this is amazing. This is great." Mr. Williams. Okay, that's all right. But I got to see him. I was like this close. But I got to meet was it Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Peter Mayhew, Kenny Baker, what was it? The producer and the director, Kirshner and Kurtz.
It was worth the trip, was it?
Oh gosh, yeah. and I could actually see how they actually made the movie, and that and that set. And it was really cool. As impressive as the set was, it was fake. It blew my mind. It was so fake. It was like in other words, you'd think that they actually built the entire cave. No, it was part of the cave. And the X-wings in some of the little garages were just the point of it. The rest were just paintings. So and the entranceway to the cave was too small for the ship to go through. It was just forced perspective. So I got to actually see. I wasn't upset or have my bubble burst. It was like, oh,
did that give you some insight into what you could do with your art?
Just to see that, yeah, well, that's just it. And I didn't know at the time what I wanted to do, but I said, like, I'd like to do something like this someday. Of course, now that's like 40 years, 50 years later.
Ah,
I'm a late bloomer is the problem,
but
but
you're
the things are
blooming.
going. Blooming, yeah.
You're
So
blooming.
blooming. But no, I think that, and I'm not saying my thing is as good as Star Wars, but it's not the same as Star Wars. But later when it's over, I went back and said, like, there's a lot of analogous stuff to it.
Yeah.
There is, there's things in here that are
grabbing the heart,
right,
or
but
turning things
even
upside down.
incidental, like and this won't spoil anything, but like in Star Wars, there is a recurring motif of people getting their arms cut off. Yeah, it's like almost every movie. Okay, well, in my story, it's people get their heads cut off. But
if you tell us who, that would be considered a spoiler.
The difference is the people get their heads cut off don't die.
Mm-hmm.
If you see what I'm saying.
Because it's magic.
Well, because it's magic, or because the method of getting the head cut off is like an illusion or whatever. But it's a thing that happens again, and it's going to happen in the third book. And it's like, but it's like saying recurring. Then you have also the person who has like the great teacher that arrives to pass on the wisdom to the young hero, and that person dies before they can give out the message. Well, but then they come back.
I was going to ask you if you could put me in the book. I was a magician's assistant once. I was a magician's assistant for a whole weekend once. Throwing doves around and all of that stuff. Okay. I did not get my head cut off. I did not get cut in half. Because it was only a weekend.
Well, it's really just one character who keeps getting his head cut off.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was going to say I would be interested in being a side character in this little adventure that you've got going on, but not if there's a risk of getting my head cut off.
The thing is, though, and I'm glad you brought that up. The thing about it is that there's a lot of people that I actually know, because that's what I do. It's like the people that are in the story are based on actual people that I know, and. Part of that is sort of like, hey, shout out. But the other way is that because they're actual real people and not just like a comic or a cartoony person, then I can actually sort of see them in a sense of reality.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, somebody that, is like, here's Bill. It's like, okay, this is Allison, who's based on Allison, such and such. Anyway, so the major characters in the story are actually based on people that I know. A lot of people I went to high school with. But then the other, like the villains and a lot of the background characters, they're based on actors and talent from the ZDTV, Tech TV, and G4 channels, which is no longer exist. It ran in the late 1990s.
You're giving them new life.
I based them on them because, and part of that was originally it was going to be a comic book. And this is very, very, I don't know what the right word for this is, but it was crafty. I thought, what if I made these characters, originally it was just based on their looks, made them look like the people from G4, maybe I might get some free publicity. Yeah. They might actually hold my book up and say, hey, this guy named Matthew Park wrote a comic book, and it's got, there's a picture of, is that you, Olivia? Is that you, Allison? So
we live in hope.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, so I based a lot of that, and then in book 2, there's other characters that I just sort of threw in there, and I just went like, okay, they're all based on the actors who starred in the Electric Company TV show of the 1970s.
Cute.
Just because I needed more people, and
and
they actually know that. It's like they said, like, our code names are based on actors from the Electric Company. It's like, what?
Now, producer John's giving me the wrap it up thing, but there are some authors that, as incentive for some fundraising thing, they'll have some event, and whoever donates the most money gets to become a character in their book. Oh, are you open to doing that?
Sure.
There you go. Okay,
Sure.
we'll put it together.
I would.
We'll come up with some
I'm already at the
honorable
end of book 2, so I don't really
charity.
have time for John and Tracy. I don't think I could go back and see if I could wedge y'all.
We're gonna come up with some worthwhile charity.
Well, the idea
and auction this invisible person into your book.
We could, because I mean, it'd be fine. There's
book 3.
Book 3.
You've got time.
There's lots of people. Time. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. So you're
not going to get hit by a bus. Not when we've got this worthwhile thing to be done. Got this worthwhile thing to be done.
Right.
Yeah. But, thank you so much.
Yeah. So I just want to say, if we haven't said it or done it, whatever, you just have to go on Amazon.com, look for, there's a lot of Jack, you look up Jack Magic, you're going to get Magic Jack, which is some kind of drain cleaner thing. So you have to look for either Matthew Pak, P-A-K, P-A-K, like my mom says, like Pak Yaka, like if you were from Massachusetts. So Matthew Pak, Jack Magic, or the actual titles, Jack Magic, Believe Your Eyes, that is the title of one. Title 2 is Jack Magic, Other Nights.
Believe Your Eyes.
Yeah, and then Other Nights, like K Nights, Other Nights is number 2.
Other Nights.
And then the last book, or the final book of the trilogy.
You have the name already?
I do have the name. I will give you the initials because it's Party, P-A-R-T-Y. And that's in the book as well because it's I came up with the idea. It's like, so it's Buy OK Party.
Okay.
So, Buy OK Party, and the title of book 3 is the last page of book 2. Actually, there, but the initials are Party.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Right. I think
Amazon.com. You can read it for free if you're on Kindle Unlimited or whatever, and then the paperback will cost you $12.99 for the first one, I think, and I don't know what the second one because it's thicker. It's like 700 pages, so it's a big book. It's not boring. It's not boring. There's not a lot of navel gazing. There's a lot of stuff is happening. Think of it as Godfather Part 2. It's like bing, bang, boom.
There you go. So. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. Yeah. I appreciate you coming by.
All right.
And so,
when book 3 comes out, we'll do this again.
Yeah, we'll do this again for book 3.
Naked, capitalistic, money-snatching, money-grubbing push for book 3 to say, this is what it's been about all the time.
This is what it's been about all the time.
No, it was about this.
There we go. All right. Thank you for joining us on the porch. And I hope that y'all get out there, have a wonderful day, get on your porch with your friends, have some fun, and join us next time. Yeah.
Get on the porch and read a book. I can think of a couple
for free on your Kindle.
Yeah.
Believe Your Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I also illustrated a children's book I wrote written by Raymond Mayberry, an engineer I work with, called Don't Stop Retrieving.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in the show notes,
Don't Stop Retrieving with an apostrophe at the end. And it's a great book. He did a really good job, but my name is not linked to it, so you have to search for Raymond Mayberry or Don't Stop Retrieving. Yeah.
Go to YouTube or Rumble for this video. Either of those videos will have the show notes. It'll have the link.
And subscribe.
Hit
the like button.
Why not?
And subscribe.
Yeah.
You do super chats yet?
I don't know. Okay. What's a super chat?
Super chats where people donate money to you. You'll figure it
out.
Oh,
yeah. Give me some money.
You have to enable it, but yeah, people need your money.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye.
Tracy here. I just wanted to let you audio-only subscribers know that right now, at this very second, the video of this interview posted on YouTube and Rumble is showing both of the Jack Magic book jackets. You can also see pictures being displayed that are from Matt's trip to the set of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. You can pause the video to peruse his winning Bantha Tracks essay. We will be sharing more of Matt's pictures with our Star Wars panel discussions to be released later. In the show notes, with the audio or video, I've provided some links that will take you to some Skeeter comics. Thank you all for dropping by and hanging out on the porch. Subscribe if you haven't, and have a happy Independence Week. Catch you next time, RVA, here on the porch.
On the Porch RVA is produced and directed by John Hundley. Your host is Tracy Hundley. Join our community on Facebook and Instagram. Email us at tomatlh@outlook.com. Visit us at www.tomastudiosrva.com. Video of these episodes are on YouTube and Rumble. On the Porch is a 2024 T.O.M.A Studios production.